Good evening, sports betting fans. This is Hardways Mike with SBI. It is Tuesday. Unfortunately, it is not Dinger Tuesday any longer. FanDuel has retired the promotion for the 2023 season, so we will have to wait until next year. We still do have some Dinger promotions out there. Bet Rivers has one, Caesars has one, so make sure you check those out. But when it comes to our favorite day of the week, it is no longer Tuesdays. We're in this weird kind of time frame after Dinger Tuesday ends, but before Tuesday night Maction starts. That's right, we love Tuesday night Maction over here at the Sports Betting Intel offices. We love ourselves some Tuesday night Maction, watching Mac football on Tuesdays. We'll get to that later in the year. We'll get to all sorts of things NCAA football. I am solo tonight. We got to give Aces a round of applause for holding it down yesterday by himself. Wasn't the sound effect I was looking for, but that'll do. But let's get into some Major League Baseball. We still have plenty of baseball action, including the Braves and the Rockies here later tonight. We've got the Salt Man, Charlie Morton, on the mound for the Braves. 13-10 record this year with a 3.37 ERA, almost 10 Ks per nines, and giving up fewer than a full home run per nine at .83 versus Peter Lambert on the mound for the Rockies. 3-4 record with a 4.92 ERA with a 7.82 ERA, 1.77 home runs per nine. No surprise, Braves are big favorites in this game. They won yesterday handily, 14-4, something like that. I can't remember the score. Yeah, 14-4. So they are the big favorites in this, minus 275 over on BetMGM. That is just a massive line for the Braves, but no surprise there, and seeing as they are the best team in baseball by a wide margin. They currently are sitting at 85-45 versus the Rockies 49-82, almost opposite records there. This line opened up for the Braves right at this 275 line, this 275 number, and it's kind of stuck there all day. Not a whole lot of movement. If you do want to take the Rockies, you can get them at plus 240 over on PointsBet. I'm not sure if this meets Ace's threshold for taking underdogs. It is in Colorado there. Thin air. Do we have a chance for some home runs? I am just itching for Matt Olson to hit a home run here. He hasn't hit one since August 13th. Very surprising. Let's go over to the player props page and see what it looks like today. I need him to overtake Shohei Ohtani. Shohei's been in a lull too, so this is his opportunity. And he's hitting doubles, he's hitting triples. The man can do everything except he can't get me a home run. Let's see what the odds look like. All right. Not great. Not great today. They are in Colorado. It is the evening, though. So plus 165 on PointsBet, plus 170 on DraftKings, 165 on BetMGM. If you're going to take it, though, I'm not saying you do, 210 over on FanDuel Sportsbook. Not ideal. Not the best line there, obviously, but Matt Olson. There's other guys, Acuna in this game, maybe Michael Harris. Any of these guys really can go yard. Let's look at some other games. Well, actually, let's take a look at and see some scores real quick. White Sox are up over the Orioles right now. It's a low-scoring game there. Yankees are up over the Tigers, 2-0. That is courtesy of 2 home runs. The Angels and the Phillies are really pouring it on right now, 4-2 in that game already. And then you got a lot of low-scoring games. Astros up over the Red Sox, 2-0. Nationals over the Blue Jays, 2-0. Marlins over the Rays right now, 2-1. Nothing complete yet. So let's look at another couple of games tonight. We've got an NL Central showdown between the Brewers and the Cubbies. That game is starting here very shortly. We've got Justin Steele on the mound for the Cubs. This is on our MLB Today page over at SB Intel, sportsbettingintel.com. Steele's got a great record this year, 14-3 with a 2.80 ERA. Just an absolutely outstanding ERA. Versus Corbin Burns, though, 9-6 record with a 3.65 ERA. This one is in Chicago. It's a 7:05 start. You got the Cubs are the favorites in this one. The line is Cubbies minus 125 over on Caesar Sportsbook. That's the best odds. Alternatively, you can get the Brewers at plus 118 over on Bet Rivers. If we go to the standings here, Brewers do have the lead in the Central. They are up 74-57. I was hoping the Reds could pull it off this year. It doesn't look like it. They have been slipping quite a bit, 4-6 in their last 10. Cubs are 5 games back, and the Reds are 7 games back from there. And then Pittsburgh, you're breaking my heart, Pittsburgh, 59-73, 15.5 games back. I had small hope that they might do something here this year. Not so much. Another game to look at, let's see here. Well, big money or big line here on the A's and the Mariners game. The A's, as I had mentioned previously, are struggling. Mariners are minus 298 on DraftKings Sportsbook. That is the best line. Alternatively, you can get a minus 300 at PointsBet and BetMGM. Plus 265 is the best line for the A's tough to justify that either way. The A's have not been playing good baseball, but the Mariners are not a good enough team, I think, to overcome a minus 300 line. I mean, they are 75 and 56. They do have George Kirby on the mound tonight, but I just don't know that I would take that line either way. One more, Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. This game is the late game, 9-10 game here tonight. You got Clayton Kershaw on the mound, the ace for the Dodgers, 11-4 record with a 2.52 ERA, 9.64 Ks per nine there versus Merrill Kelly, 10-5 record with a 2.97 ERA. So the Diamondbacks ace on the mound, but the Dodgers are favorites. They're big favorites in this still, even with the ace on the mound for the Diamondbacks. Dodgers minus 180. You can get that on DraftKings and PointsBet. If you want to back the Diamondbacks, you can get them at plus 160 over on Bet Rivers. We have just a barely smaller slate tomorrow, and then Thursday you only have 4 games. And that is probably because NCAA football is starting, I would guess. But you've got a noon game with the Yankees and the Tigers, and then you have 3 games after that, including a couple late games. Full slates on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Of course, we'll have our series spotlight this week, which will be the Braves and the Dodgers. The Braves leading the the NL East, and the Dodgers leading the NL West. This will be an exciting series to break down. It's a 9:10 p.m. game on Friday. It is a 8:10, I think, game on Saturday. And then Sunday, it's a 3:10 game. So a little later games there. It's all in L.A. But yeah, that's it for us on baseball tonight. I mentioned we do have player props as well. If you wanted to look at some other options for, we had picked up Matt Olson. Let's look at Michael Harris here just to see. Yeah, Caesar's not bad, plus 600. FanDuel plus 560. PointBets plus 500. Yeah. So if you want to look at some other options for the other quote-unquote Dinger Tuesday promotions that are going on with the other books, you certainly can go over to our MLB player props page, find the best lines there. I'm going to head over to our This Week in College Football. We have today's Tuesday. We've got today's Tuesday? Yeah, today's Tuesday. 2 more days before we get college football again, and this starts week 1. So exciting times. We've got several games here on the 31st. We had gone through a couple of those on the last podcast over the weekend, but This Week in College Football has our breakdown by conference. You can find each game per conference, and then you can go and get a game breakdown, right a glance for every game that's playing in that conference. Click on detailed matchup, and you can get the game preview, very basic stats, and then team stats, and then advanced stats, and go on, schedule, lines at a glance, et cetera, et cetera. So I just pulled up Michigan State versus Central Michigan. That game is on Saturday, September 1st. We got our game preview right here. Looks like green and red across the board. Let's just go and scroll down. We'll look at the odds here. So, yeah, Michigan State's the favorite, minus 600 on DraftKings Sportsbook very quickly. And then if you want to get minus 14 on the spread, which is better than minus the other lines that we can see here, plus 16.5 on Rivers for Central Michigan at minus 132. Over-under currently sitting at 45.5 at Bet Rivers, under 45.5 at minus 110, over 45 on Caesars at 110 as well. That's quickly just one game. Plenty of options for games this weekend. We have a lot going on Thursday, Friday. There's 6 games Friday, as in addition to 10 or 12 games on Saturday or Thursday, and then of course Saturday starts the big one, the week 1 of college football, NCAA football. I'm just going to pull up a few lines here real quick. Let's look at Purdue and Fresno State, a new look for the wide receiver core for Purdue this year. I'm looking at the lines here on our game board. Actually, a very low hold between Purdue and Fresno State. This game is in Purdue, minus 167 on Bet Rivers. That's the best line for Purdue. They're the favorite in this, which is significantly better than the DraftKings line of minus 185, minus 194 for FanDuel, or minus 175 for Caesars. Fresno State plus 160, which is better. That's on FanDuel. That's better than 154 on DraftKings, and significantly better than the Fresno State line of plus 135 on Bet Rivers, also plus 148 on Caesars. So they're kind of straddling the middle there. But yeah, low hold there between Purdue and Fresno State. Another couple of games. Let's look at how about the California North Texas game? Cal's a bit of a team in a bit of a flux, but they're still a favorite. That Cal team, not quite sure what to make of them. They're minus 250 on Caesars Sportsbook. North Texas plus 230 over on Bet Rivers. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our spreads page. This will be a little more, probably up a lot of people's likings here, because we got a lot of favorites big favorites here on Saturday. So let's see if we can get something that's not quite double digits. Well, that Cal team, as I mentioned previously, is minus 5.5 on Bet Rivers, minus 122. Otherwise, you can get that minus 6.5 at minus 110 over on FanDuel Sportsbook. USC, no big surprise here, minus 38.5 for their line versus Nevada. Big spread there for that team. Alabama, even though I'm not sure that we know who the starting quarterback is going to be for Alabama yet. They're minus 40 to minus 41, depending on where you get that book. I'm staying far away from that. I know Saban he always comes out swinging, but that just seems like a lot. Akron and Temple, that line varies from 9.5 to 10, depending on where you look at it. 9.5, I can get minus 9.5 at minus 120 over on Caesar Sportsbook. Alternatively, you can get plus 9.5 at plus 102 on DraftKings. And of course, one of my favorite things to look at is the over-under. Let's find some games that I think can go over. Definitely this TCU-Colorado game. We have a new head coach in Colorado. 62.5 right now, over 62.5. It is shaded to the over, so minus 124 on Bet Rivers for the over there. If you want to get under, you can get under 64, all the way up to under 64 on Caesar Sportsbook at minus 10 at the standard juice there. How about Michigan and East Carolina? We know that the teams for Harbaugh's teams, they do come out pretty well recently, so we'll see if they can keep that going. 51.5 is the over-under on that. Actually, we look at over 50. It is definitely shaded to the over 50.5, minus 136 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Alternatively, minus 108 for under 51.5, which is actually pretty good. That's over on FanDuel Sportsbook. Another game that has a pretty big over-under that I was keeping an eye on is this USC-Nevada game, 66. No surprise. The over is favored in that, over 65.5 at minus, well, actually, that's not terrible. Over 65.5, minus 110 on Caesars versus over 65.5 at minus 136 on FanDuel. Under 60, that is 66.5. Never mind. If you want over 65.5, that's minus 136 on FanDuel. If you want under 66.5, though, you can get that on Caesars, minus 110. Otherwise, you're paying, actually, minus 103 on Bet Rivers. So keep an eye on this. These game boards are perfect for finding the best line. If you have a bet in mind and you're looking for something, these are the best opportunities to find your line at a glance. Like I said, you've got 66.5 at some places, 65.5 at other places, shaded over, under, whatever it is. You want to make sure that you're getting the best lines, finding value in the bets you're looking to take on college football, in addition to the other sports that we offer, of course. And the way to do that is just at a glance, quickly go to our game boards, spreads, totals, money lines. If you want to dig in further, I'll click on this Oklahoma-Arkansas State game. It'll pull up our game page for this Saturday, September 2nd, 11 o'clock. We've got our consensus lines, projected score, chances to win. We've got our best book odds, money lines, spreads, totals. Now, this particular game, we don't have a money line for Oklahoma because they're such a big favorite, but we have the spread here, minus 36, over under 58.5. I can scroll down. I can get various teased lines or alternative lines all the way, Oklahoma minus 43.5 at plus 215 on Bet Rivers. Oklahoma minus 27 at minus 360 over on Bet Rivers. Over under, if I want the over, I want to tease it down a little bit. I can get over 56.5 on minus 137 over on Bet Rivers versus, let's see here, under, if I think this is going to go a little over, I can get actually over 62.5 at plus 154 over on FanDuel. So that's pretty good here. That's the way to do it. Of course, we've got plenty of opportunities for college football in addition to NFL. NFL starts very, very soon. We've got NFL starting in 9 days, Thursday Night Football, as I mentioned previously. And then our NCAA player props page will be available very, very soon. We are excited about this entirely. I'm going to pull up that Utah game here, and we'll look at Quindon Jackson. There's an apostrophe there. And total touchdowns, rushing touchdowns. So there's total touchdowns, so it could be a passing touchdown, or a receiving touchdown or rushing touchdown. Over under. He's set to be the starting running back for Utah. We'll see if he sticks to being the bell cow. When it comes to Utah, they do tend to favor one running back. So we've got receiving touchdowns. If you want to get over half receiving touchdown, you can get that at Caesars plus 1,000. But over under total touchdowns, over a half touchdown. So one touchdown, minus 165 at DraftKings. Over under rushing touchdowns. If you think that's what it's going to be, you can get over a rushing touchdown to score a rushing touchdown, minus 110. Over on DraftKings versus minus 117, best beyond that, over on Caesar Sportsbook. So Lots of opportunity for player props as well. We know that's a big part of why people watch and bet on college sports and college football in particular. So we've got that coming shortly. And then I do want to pull out a couple of plus EV bets for college football coming up. We've got a couple of games that I think that our audience is going to like. Number one, this Buffalo game, this Buffalo-Wisconsin game. I know we've got some Wisconsin fans in the audience. If you want to take the plus EV bet, we've got a big 6.25% positive expected value bet. That is the Buffalo spread, first quarter spread, plus 6.5 on Bet Rivers, or any Canby book that you have. Canby is the odds provider for Bet Rivers, among other books. So that's Buffalo plus 6.5, first quarter spread. That's at plus 138. That is a 6.25% positive expected value bet. That is a Saturday game at 2:30. And then I think we have a couple of maybe Iowa fans in the audience. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, we've got an Iowa plus expected value bet, positive expected value bet as well. The Iowa full game spread, minus 30 on Bet Rivers at plus 163 is 4.37% positive expected value bet. So again, that Iowa full game spread of minus 30 is a positive expected value bet. If we look at the Iowa spread, standard spread, so it is higher. The standard spread is 27 right now at plus even money over on DraftKings. The money line for Iowa, of course, let's see if we can find that money line for Iowa. That is minus 2,400 over on DraftKings as well versus 4,000 FanDuel Caesar. So there you go. Couple of positive expected value bets for you for the coming weekend. That Iowa game's at 11. That Buffalo game, Buffalo-Wisconsin game's at 2:30. I do want to touch on two quick things before we let you go for the evening. We'll get to tennis in just a second, but I do want to let you know the Ryder Cup is coming up near the end of September here. So Team USA is currently favorite, minus 140, versus Team Europe at plus 135. There is a tie option as well. I'm guessing that would be the regulation, and then we go to a playoff after that. I'm not entirely sure how that works. I don't know that we've had a tie in Ryder Cup recently. Beyond that, it's a bit of a break for PGA. We don't have anything coming up for the next 2 weeks. We've got the Fortinet Championship in Napa, California, starting on the September 14th. And then, as I mentioned, we've got the Ryder Cup. So there's another break there. And then we have the Ryder Cup in Rome at Marco Simone Golf and Country Club starting September 29th. We have had 2 days of the U.S. Open going on, both men's and women's, and it's been exciting so far. Haven't had a chance to watch too many. Not a whole lot of upsets. We did have one upset in the men's tournament. I think, let's see if I can remember who that was. I had brought it up in our Discord earlier in the day. Let's see if I can find that real quick. This is great radio here. That it was Kachanov versus Bohm. Well, Kachanov loses in straight sets there, which is a bit of a surprise. Some other scores, of course, Medvedev wins in straight sets pretty simply here, 6-1, 6-1, 6-0. Another ranked Korik lost in straight sets here. Rublev wins in straight sets. He's ranked 8th. De Minaur won in 4 sets. Hurkacz wins. That match is still going on there. We've got, I believe we got Ruud playing tomorrow. Casper Ruud's playing tomorrow mid-morning, I believe. And then Djokovic plays early afternoon tomorrow. On the women's side, there have been a couple of upsets. Nothing too surprising just yet, but, we've got Madison Keys won in straight sets. Garcia, I guess that's a bit of a big upset. Garcia loses to Wang. Garcia was ranked 7th coming in. Vondrousova wins in straight sets, but Gula wins in straight sets. As I mentioned, she's probably close to one of the tops there. I mentioned that previously. Let's see. Pliskova wins in straight sets. So nothing, I guess just that one upset on the women's side. Let's go ahead and check the odds for both the men and the women here. Let's see if anything's changed. No, Djokovic odds dropped a little bit. I think Aces brought up on the podcast yesterday, so now he's plus 110. Alcaraz at plus 200. Medvedev at plus 1,000. Sinner at plus 1,400. And Zverev at plus 2,800. Tsitsipas at third, plus 3,500. For the women's side, you've got Iga Swiatek, as I had mentioned previously, probably at the top of her game, plus 220. Sabalenka at 500. Cora Gauff at 650. And then Rabakina at plus 800. And then Jessica Pegula, I do like her as well at plus 1,000. So that's it for me today. A bit of a longer one again, but there's so many sports to talk about. And we'll be back later this week to talk our series spotlight, the Braves and the Dodgers. We'll be back to talk the start of college football week 1. NFL will take a bit of a break on because we don't have much going on. We'll have some, if there's any big news, anything cuts. Well, there was a bit of a big news today in that Jonathan Taylor, the starting running back for the Colts, third-year running back, he will remain on the PUP list, and he will be out for the first 4 games. So if you're drafting in your fantasy football leagues tonight, just be aware of that. You might want to bump him down your ranking. But that's it for me. As we say over here at SBI, you don't always have to bet, but when you do, wager wisely.